could you at least walk us through when the tests were conducted and when you got the results back?
No, we're not going to get into the timing.
Okay, then what are the next steps, and how long does your team have to stay off the basketball court, or does it?
No, so we obviously announced today, but we are hear a little background noise here. We announced today we had full training camp today. We're comfortable that there 3 cases were isolated. There was no contact tracing went through. There's been no further positive tests, so we're confident that we can continue with basketball.
Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Doug. If you have a question, as a reminder, please raise your hand. Next, we'll go to Tim Bontemps from ESPN.
Hey, Bobby. I know you don't want to get into specifics. Nick said he had everybody available for practice. Can we at least be clear that all the players are able to practice and that they're not part of that? Or is that?
We're not going to get into those specifics.
Okay. I know.
I mean, just so right. I mean, this is just privacy, right? We're not.
No, for sure. I was just checking. Is this? I don't want to sound callous about this, but is this something you kind of planned for or expected, just given kind of the challenges of trying to, restart amid everything that's going on right now?
Yeah, it's an enormous challenge, right? It's a logistical challenge. It's a health challenge. It's a human challenge that we're all going through. It's constantly on our mind. At the same time, we're trying to prepare for an NBA season, as I'm sure most of us are seeing around the sports landscape. This was bound to happen, so we just wanted to make sure we had, everything kind of tied up, and continuing to review, continuing to educate, continuing to have awareness with our players, coaches, and staff, almost on a daily basis.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Next, we'll go to Michael Grange from Sportsnet.
Hey, Bobby. Thanks for doing this. Just to follow up a little bit where Tim was getting at yesterday when we were on the call with Nick, it was all systems go. Everyone, I guess, all 20 players were accountable. Were at practice. So can we just confirm that as of yesterday that there were 20 guys in practice, based on what Nick told us yesterday?
We're not, for privacy reasons, we're not going to comment on that.
Okay. When you do get the tests, who do you confer with, or what steps does the organization take to make sure that it is safe to practice? Or so you get these 3 tests. Do you go to? Is there experts at the league that you consult with? Is it all done in-house with your own medical people? How do you decide what's the outcome of those 3 tests? What action you take from there?
Yeah, I mean, dating back to even going to the bubble, we've familiarized ourselves with the protocol. So there's in that long 150-page document. As soon as you have a positive, you have the contact tracing. You obviously want to confirm the positive. Isolate the individual. So all of those are laid out, and the NBA has obviously done a great job to guide us there. So from that sense, it's pretty straightforward, but it does take time. It does take a little while to contact trace and continue all the follow-up testing.
And who makes the final call decision whether to practice or not? Is that within the team, or is that you present the information to the league and they say you're okay, good to go?
It's a medical expert. So our medical experts are doctors in conjunction with the NBA.
Okay. And just based on some of the information about the protocols that came out on Saturday, is there going to be any discipline associated with these positive tests?
We will review them, but nothing to comment at this time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we'll go to Joe Varden from The Athletic.
Hey, Bobby. Since we have absolutely no idea who you're talking about, can you tell us if anybody's sick, not feeling, have the symptoms or whatnot?
I'm not going to comment on that.
And then, again, based on what we know about protocols, is it harder to live by those protocols, considering you guys are in hotels again? And then are they strong enough for the regular season? Like things like being able to go to restaurants and stuff like that. Like now that you're going through this already, are you concerned about these protocols?
I don't think, concern is probably too strong, but it's, they're extensive, I think is the right word. And I think we've all in our own personal lives, learned how to, whether it's dining outdoors, wear your mask, social distance. I think we're all learning what are the, 4 or 5, really important things that you need to do. And so that's a lot of it, is continuing that conversation with our staff, with our players, with our coaches, learning that. I think we've all come through the document. We have another, mandated MBA train this evening for everybody, so you can have back and forth, because I think we've all seen there's a list of protocols, but there's the real world. And so you have questions, which is, is this allowed? Is this not allowed? How do I dine outdoors safely? So it's tough, it's the, endless amount of questions we all have. And sometimes they seem a bit counterintuitive, or sometimes they seem maybe, contradictory. So really it's erring on a super conservative side of limiting your exposure. We're in a unique situation, not being on our home market, but in some ways, being a bit isolated ourselves in a hotel, hopefully limits that exposure.
Next, we'll go to Tim Reynolds from the Associated Press.
Bobby, thank you for taking the time. I swear I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm really not with this question. I just don't know how else to ask it. When you see what Portland did, shutting down its facility, and the 48 positive tests that the league announced last week, what you guys are dealing with today, is there any part of you that's just asking yourself, what the heck are we doing? I mean, is there any part? I mean, again, I swear to you, I'm not trying to be flip, but do you wonder if there is a greater good here, and how we're going to be able to get through this when there's so many problems off the jump?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And I think we're seeing, our season is, here months after a lot of other professional sports leagues have started. I like to say that, we've always said, sports are an outlet, sports are a distraction. And I'd like to believe that, we're providing entertainment, we're providing things, for the greater good of the public. But, I think health and safety, I think the nature of our positive tests, we feel comfortable there's not further, but it's not to say that a week from now or 2 weeks from now or in the middle of the season when we're on the road in Brooklyn that we're not going to have this again. And so, we'll continue to confront those challenges. But I do think from a professional matter, basketball is our livelihood. It's the livelihood of these players, coaches, and a number of staff. And so we think following the protocols, we can get through this.
Thank you, Bobby.
We've got time for 3 more. We'll go to Ryan Wallstatt from the Toronto Sun first.
Hey, Bobby, just kind of following up on Tim a little bit. You've got a game coming up in like 5 days. Does this shake any of the confidence of it coming so soon at all? Or maybe the Portland stuff as well, and the 58 test? Does any of that shake the confidence in that at all?
No, high level of, intensity basketball today. I don't think, that'll be affected.
Okay, thanks.
We'll go back to Doug next.
Bobby, can you walk us through the steps that have to occur before these 3 people can rejoin the team?
Yeah, don't quote me on these, but obviously the CDC comes out with their guidelines. I think that's what we're following. I believe it's for us, it's the 10 to 14 day period. So I'm not sure if that's from the first positive test or asymptomatic. And then you need to return the 2 negative tests before you return to, the group or to the tier 1 or tier 2 status.
Great. Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate it again.
Last question today. I'll go to Michael Grange.
Hey, Bobby. How have you observed the protocol in action within the team environment? Hotels, buses, to the extent you can. Obviously, after a certain point, everyone goes their separate way. But are people wearing masks? Is the distancing good? Are you feeling comfortable when you're on elevators? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the nature of the protocols was, to essentially create little bubbles around each team, right? And so you have, to basically get in the bubble around a team, you need to, follow a bunch of protocols and continually test negative. So, we're all in the habits of waking up in the morning, going down and getting tested, wearing your mask, you're grabbing your food to go, eating in your room, jumping on a bus, being socially distant. Coming to practice obviously is the one where we're all together and, the players are not wearing masks. But yeah, I think it's become pretty normal and routine for us now.
And just talking to Fred and Nick the other day, they were both confident that your team was maybe quite well suited to kind of have that kind of internal discipline. Anything about this has maybe changed your outlook on that, or would you agree with their assessment?
I agree with their assessment. I think obviously going to Naples before we went to the bubble helped, so it doesn't feel completely unfamiliar to us.